Today we are doing a Velcro roller set without having to use a blow dryer, not doing it the traditional round brush blow dryer and Velcro roller way. Instead, we are going to use a large barrel curling wand and our Velcro rollers to get the same look. Everyone loves the traditional blowout look these days. The 90s and those blowout looks are making a comeback. But if you struggle to do those blowout curls with a round brush and a blow dryer, and I do have some videos that show you how to do it, but if you struggle with that, then I am going to show you today how you can get that look by just using a large barrel wand. Wand I am using today is a 1 1/4 inch. You could go up to a 1 1/2 or even a 2 inch if your hair is longer, but if your hair is shorter like mine goes just a little bit past my collarbone, you're not going to want something too big. You don't want a small roller, you don't want a 1 inch or anything like that because it's going to get too small, you're going to get too much curl, but you don't want to go too big if your hair is not really long. But if your hair is on the longer side, you can definitely get away with a 1 1/2 or a 2 inch barrel, because what we're really looking here is we're looking for flip, we're looking for volume, we're looking for movement. We're not necessarily looking for ringlets or curls. Really quickly, while my curling wand continues to heat up, I am just going to talk quickly about Velcro rollers, because every time I use Velcro rollers, people ask which ones they are because they don't get stuck in my hair. These are not special non-stick, non-tangle Velcro rollers. These are just basic Goody brand Velcro rollers, but honestly, I've had other brands. I've had dollar store Velcro rollers, Amazon. They're all the same. This is just a basic, run-of-the-mill, generic Velcro roller. They're not getting stuck in your hair because you're using the wrong roller. They're getting stuck in your hair because you're not doing it right. So really quick, when we're putting Velcro rollers in, first of all, it's really important to make sure that section of hair is thoroughly brushed, all in the same direction, because if your hairs aren't all going in the same direction before you put your Velcro roller in, they're going to go into the Velcro. It's almost like, think of it like a hairbrush. In all different directions, it's immediately going to tangle. And then when you put in the Velcro roller, we're going to brush it through our hair like it's a hairbrush. It's going to catch your hair and it's like a hairbrush. This is also making sure that before you roll it, all those hairs are going in the same direction. So you brush it through, bring it all the way to the ends, make sure everything is the way you want it. You want to make sure that you're not doing anything like this, really messy, because that's just so likely to get tangled. If it's tangling on the way in, it's going to tangle on the way out. So we brush it through, lots of tension. Okay, I'm not letting it go loose. I'm holding lots of tension. We've brushed down those ends nice and smooth, still holding the tension. We wrap it, we push it into itself, or you can use a clip if you feel like it doesn't stick. And there you go, your Velcro roller's in, nice and tidy. It's not gonna go anywhere. Now, tangling on the way out. What we don't want to do is try to unroll it the way that we rolled it in. Instead, we're just going to put our fingers in and we're just going to give a bit of tension, and you're going to feel like it's pulling and tangling at first, but it's okay. You're going to feel a release. As soon as it lets go of that hair underneath, it's going to release and it's going to slide right out. If you try to unroll it, you're going to be picking up the hair underneath, and it's going to be picking up hair as it's trying to drop hair, and it's going to just tangle around itself. So it's really all about how they go in and how they come out. We are going to be using 3 different sizes of Velcro rollers. We've got the biggest size here. We've got our medium size. And personally, I like to try and just use these 2 sizes, but I've kind of lost a few of my rollers. I don't have a ton left of those 2 sizes. So if I need to, I will throw in some of the smaller one. It's not that much smaller than this one, so I don't mind it. Basically, the bigger the roller, the more lift and volume you're gonna get. The smaller the roller, the more curl you're gonna get. Section out, starting at the bottom as always. Clip that out of the way. Brush the section. I did brush my hair prior to starting completely, but I do like to go back and brush the section just to make sure. I'm going to separate it over my shoulders so there's no hair left at the back and I'm not having to scramble trying to find the hair that I want to work with. And these sections, because my hair is pretty thin, they're pretty wide sections, but they're pretty thin. So we're just going to do 2 sections on the bottom. So we've got our wand. You can use a curling iron instead with a clamp, but I find the wands easier to use, but they're essentially the same thing. And we're just going to be doing your classic wraparound. Nothing fancy. We're literally just going to put the wand in, wrap the hair around, and we're going to wrap the hair around horizontally. So basically, whatever section basically whatever direction the hair is going. So here I'm holding it this way, so we're going to keep it horizontal to the hairline. Here, if I pulled out a hair piece like this, we would hold it horizontal this way, but the back sections I'm going to do 2 diagonal sections just because I've pulled it over the sides like I have, but you could do it with a curling iron or with a wand. So I like to start up close to my hairline because you want to get as much volume as you can up close to your hairline. So we really want the wand close to our head. You don't want to touch your head and burn yourself, but as close to your head as you can get. We're just going to hold it there for maybe 5 to 10 seconds, depending on how hot your tool is. And make sure you have put heat protection in. You always want to use that heat protection. So on this bottom one, I'm going to use one of my pink rollers. I want a little bit more curl and bounce on the bottom. So as you see, we do our comb through a couple times, lots of tension, making sure those ends are wrapped. And then I just roll that roller up and set it right in. Then we'll just do the same on the other side. For this look today, I'm going to be taking relatively large sections because again, I am going for a bouncy blowout look. I'm not going for a curly look, but if you wanted more curls, you could use the smaller Velcro rollers, smaller Velcro rollers, and you could take smaller sections. Smaller sections are absolutely going to result in smaller curls and more curls. So we'll just do this section here, again, keeping the wand horizontal. It doesn't really matter for this what direction you decide to wrap the hair around the wand. It's not going to be a huge deal. I really don't think about it. I kind of just go with whatever direction feels easiest for me to accomplish. And honestly, it works. If you get too hung up on the direction that it's going, you're just going to spend forever getting frustrated at your hair. I say do whatever is easy and comes naturally, because why make our lives any harder than it already is? Now, one question I do get a lot when I do a style like this is, couldn't I just do the curls with the wand and not set them in a roller? Absolutely you could. The thing that the roller is going to do, it's going to help us achieve a little bit more volume in our hair closer to the root. It is going to help to set the curls and the volume and the shape that we're creating so that it's going to last longer. And it's just going to give the look overall a little bit more of a set and polished look than if you just curled and left them. So just curling the hair and then leaving it, dropping the curls and then leaving it to cool is absolutely not wrong. It's just a different technique, and it's going to result in a slightly different outcome than doing this, whereas this is going to give you a little bit more of that set, voluminous, bouncy look. But either is not wrong. If you don't have Velcro rollers, you could also grab some pin curl clips and use those. They work really well. Or even just little duckbill clips could manage in a pinch, or even a bobby pin. The problem with a bobby pin is you're likely going to get dents in your hair where you pin, but anything you can set your hair with is going to help you get it. But in my opinion, the Velcro rollers are the easiest and give you the nicest finish overall, in my opinion. But you might feel differently, and if you do and you try this out and you alter it in a way that you find works better for you, then that's amazing, and that's how you should do it. So once again, I am not following any specific pattern here. I am literally just taking sections of hair that feel like they make sense and going with it. And it's literally a little different every single time I do it. And honestly, I don't feel like it turns out slightly differently each time, so that's fine. So for the front, I'm gonna do one more here. So for the bangs, I'm just going to take the whole section here. I've probably scooped a little bit of my bangs into those two, but it's just fine as long as it's the majority of our bangs in this one. And for the bangs, I do like to do that one back and away from my face, just to get that nice swoop in my curtain bangs. But again, if you like it towards your face, there is no rule that says you cannot do that. So there we go. All the rollers are in, and as we know, we need to let them cool 100% completely before we take them out. If you are planning on going out, if this is a style for an evening out, anything like that, at this point, you could also give yourself a spritz of hairspray, and that is going to help everything hold its shape even more. If you do use a strong hold hairspray, you might have to go back in with a brush just so you're not too crispy. And as soon as you start adding strong hold products, it does make every style you're working with a little bit more advanced level. So if you're just learning this, I would suggest skipping the hairspray to start with and just getting the hang of creating the style, creating the shapes, and then you can start to work with some of those more hold products that are going to help the longevity of your style, but will also make things will also make your hair a little trickier to work with. So I'm just gonna say one more time what size of rollers I used where, even though honestly there's no rules and you can put any rollers you want anywhere and however you like it is fine, but I know you always like to know what I did. So I used my medium-sized ones on the bottom, and in my bangs I put my smallest ones here in the middle because I don't really care what the middle's like, and I used my biggest ones on top because I want as much volume and kind of voluminous flips as I can get, as opposed to curls. I'm not really going for a curl look. If you use the smaller ones on top and the bigger ones on bottom, you would get more voluminous bounce on the bottom and more curl on the top. Still really, really pretty, just a different look. So I do both. It just depends on what I'm going for. So they feel completely cool. I would suggest letting them stay in for like 30 minutes minimum. You don't really need to leave them longer than that. It certainly won't hurt. Don't sleep in them or anything because you definitely get tangles, but I would say 20 to 30 minutes if you want to get a lot of longevity out of the style that you're creating. So again, we're going to pull them out and it's not going to tangle because we're just going to stick our fingers in and give them a tug and they're going to come right on out. So I do find my hair is a little bit staticky sometimes, especially if it's clean like it was today after I do that. So I like to use a little bit of smoothing product. Any smoothing product you like is fine. I like the Olaplex number 6. I just put a tiny pea-size amount on my fingers, run that through my hands, and I just kind of rake it through the hair, and that just calms down any frizz or static that was created by the Velcro rollers. Pretty flippy. It's like you got a fresh blowout at the salon. You can do a side part, you can do your middle part, you can do whatever you want, however you like it, but it just looks pretty. It looks styled. I love doing this and setting my hair in my Velcro rollers, whether I used a curling wand, a blow dryer, whatever, because this volume will last all night because I let it sit for 30 minutes in those rollers. And I will top it off with a little bit of dry texture spray for hold. You could also use hairspray, but love it. I hope that helps. I hope that gives you another fun way you can try to style your thin, fine hair, or just your hair in general. Even if it's thick and down to your bum, this will work as long as you have enough rollers, and it will look super pretty and super cute no matter what kind of hair you have. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. Please hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my videos, and like and subscribe because it really helps me out, and check out my shorts or my Instagram and TikTok for daily content. Bye, guys.